Hi guys, here I am at Tocumen Airport code PTY, which is Panama's #1 airport. It's the main airport in the country, and I've got two important tips for you that may save you a lot of time and hassle. One is if you're transiting through the airport, you've got to get from one terminal to the other, and the other is if you're traveling with Copa. So let's start with Copa first of all. If you're traveling with Copa, it doesn't matter if you research which terminal your flight goes from. Your flight, you need to check in at Terminal 2. You need to go through security and through customs migration at that terminal. Once you've passed through those at that Terminal 2, you can then go to Terminal 1. Now you're on the other side of security and migration and everything. And the only way to get between the terminals is by walking. Now, it doesn't sound very exciting, especially when they consider that you need a bus when you're on the other side. When you're on the outside of the airport, there's a bus service. But what they do have are these walkways in between. When they're switched on, they help you go a bit faster. So it does help, but it does take about 7 minutes, even if you walk very fast, to get between the terminals. So you should be aware, allow 7 to 10 minutes to get between terminals. Now that doesn't even count when you arrive, say, let's say you go from Terminal 2 to Terminal 1. When you get to Terminal 1, you may have an additional 5 to 10 minutes walking to get to your gate. So you do need to allow that. And then that works into the second piece of advice I'm giving. If you're transferring between flights, you don't go outside and you don't need to take the bus between the terminals. You can walk between the terminals. But like I say, do allow for the fact you're going to be walking. You're going to be on a few of these. I can't even remember what they're called, the moving causeways. So just bear that in mind. And I mean, today I put my hands up, I made a mistake. I went to Terminal 1 because I'd researched that we needed Terminal 1. Our Copa flight was going from Terminal 1, and then when we got to Terminal 1, got upstairs, we couldn't find Copa's desk, and I checked and they said no, you need to go to Terminal 2, then you come back to Terminal 1. So you know, it all makes sense somehow, somewhere. And you know, I don't really think it's a great way to do things, but someone somewhere does. And so I hope this video does help you out if you're wondering what happens if you need to change terminal between flights, transferring flights, or you are flying with Copa and you're kind of checking which terminal it is. Don't be misled by that. You always need to go to Terminal 2, upstairs for international and downstairs for domestic flights. The other thing to bear in mind, if you're arriving on Copa in Terminal 1, you need to go to Terminal 2 to collect your stuff, your hold baggage. And so that's worth bearing in mind too when you're thinking about your plans and how long it's going to take before you get out of the airport. So I hope that's been useful for you. Like I say, it takes about 6 minutes if you're going fast between the two terminals, walking, and some of these aren't even switched on all the time. So just allow, I mean, I always say allow, if you're traveling from your starting point to the airport to get your flight, you should always take what time you think is reasonable and times it by 3. And then you're always going to be early unless there's something major goes on, and it's just a lot more relaxing, and you don't miss that flight with all the consequences that entails. So I hope that's been useful for you. Thanks for watching, and please click subscribe because there's a lot more I can share with you about discovering Panama.